Welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Laria Rambo, and today on the show we have Michael Privatera as our guest. He is a professor at Barry University who specializes in motivation. Welcome to the show, Dr. Privatera. Really appreciate you coming back on. Wow, we had such a great time when you were here last. What's been happening? What's going on?
Well, Luria, thank you for bringing me on. It's been a pleasure talking to you in the past, and I'm sure it's going to be a pleasure talking to you right now. A lot of things happened since the last time we talked. For one thing, we have the entire nation motivated by what's happening in the media and how more and more people are thinking of presenting themselves in certain ways in which they could get exposure using YouTube and Facebook, and Facebook is now a security. There's just so much going on.
There is. We have so much technology. There's so many ways to communicate now.
Yes.
What is your definition of motivation?
Well, motivation is your internal desire to succeed. The reason why I call it internal is think of it as if you were when you were born. When you were becoming a person in this world, you didn't have a chance to say, wait, I like it here. Give me a couple of more minutes. Give me a couple of weeks. You were ready to come into this world. And that's what motivation is all about. You cannot stop the internal motivation that you have. And that's why we have, people that have addictions, and we have to try to persuade them to move away from that. It's an internal desire. So if you could sort of embrace that and then focus on it for yourself in a positive way, you could do tremendous things.
Just in everyday life, and I say that because of the times now, these days, they're tough. We have so much unemployment. We have so many things that are happening in this world. To stay motivated, to stay here is extremely hard. I believe to stay at a motivated level, it takes a certain person. I do.
Okay.
Because I when you look at people, and let me use this as an example. If you have a family, you have two boys in the family. You have one boy, same family, same parents, raised the same way.
Right.
One is motivated to be highly successful, but the other one isn't. Why is that?
Well, that's a great question. What you have to think about is that the dynamics of the family. Perhaps the firstborn got everything first. The secondborn has a lot of hand-me-downs. So there's that envy. And envy sort of has somebody going in a different track. Perhaps the first one went to certain schools. The other one wants to be a musician. Nothing wrong with that. But perhaps they're taking a different track because there could be some envy. There could be some feelings that I'm not the firstborn. I'm not mom's favorite. I'm not dad's favorite. But the thing that you focused on about the economy, we're in a turbulent environment. We're looking at unemployment very high. Most of the students coming out of universities now, 50% of them will be working in the field of the major that they ascertained, while 50% of them, 25% of them will be working in jobs that are not related to their degree. And then the other 25% may not be able to find work. So how could you turn that into something positive? It's very challenging. But you could look at someone and say, I graduated at a very challenging time. I worked at this job as a waiter or a waitress or something like that. And while I was trying to get back into what I studied, and now I'm ready to go into what I studied, knowing that I sacrificed, but I still stayed motivated. I didn't take a total track change. I took a temporary track change, but now I'm back on track. So you try to Put it in a positive spin.
And I think that it's important now that our motivational level stays at a high, because there's so many things coming at
Yes.
us. There's so many things every day coming at us to knock us. And
Yes.
you know, I say that if for some reason something happens and it gets you off path,
Right.
right? You can't just kind of tuck away and throw in the towel
No.
and go away.
That's
Because if you do that, then you'll never know if you could overcome that hurdle,
That's
or
right.
if you could succeed. So you're going to have different things coming at you, but just know that that's just a stepping stone, and that you have to stay mentally
Yes.
prepared, psychologically intact.
Right.
You know, you have to stay there and always tell yourself that you can be. I can do it.
Right.
I can achieve it. I will. I can. I will. That's
Right.
extremely important.
Yes, and you're talking about is psyching yourself up, and we
Yeah.
talk about that as psychological capital, where you have hope and you have optimism and you have self-confidence, and if something goes wrong, you have resilience. You're able to bounce back. But the thing that I think that's very important that we need to talk to for the audience watching is that you have to realize that some days you're not going to be motivated,
I know.
but it doesn't take away from your motivation.
Yeah.
If-
Because we have those days. We have those
You
days.
have
like,
to
oh
take
my
a mental health
God.
day. You need to go fishing. You need to relax.
Yes.
Ask somebody in Miami, ask somebody watching, when do you go to the beach? And they say, once a year, once a month. In a long time, I can't remember. Meanwhile, people are coming from all over the world to stay at our beaches. Not that I'm saying to spend more time at the beach, but you need to take a mental health day. So stay very high on motivation, but give yourself those rewards to just take a break. Go watch a movie.
Right.
Find ways to reward yourself, to capitalize on your motivation. So you motivate yourself. You know, when I was in school and I was on my own and I was a single guy, I would study all day Saturday morning. Then Saturday afternoon, I might go to the beach or something, and then I'd plan on bringing something home to cook for Saturday night. And then if I had a plan for Saturday night. So, but I worked those hours, and then I rewarded myself. And people have to build self-rewards into their plans so they can do more of what they love while still accomplishing a lot at a very high motivational level, like you were saying, to try to keep the motivation high in your mind and staying psyched up.
Right. I remember I was giving a talk to some young men. I'll never forget this. And I said to them, I said, well, they had gotten into some trouble.
Right.
And they needed to do their time or give their community service. And then
Yes.
once they finished, they were good to go.
Right.
So I said to them, I said, okay, so what are your goals? You know, I walk in the room, what are your goals? What you know,
Right.
what do you want to do in the future? And I'll never forget this. One of the young men said to me, I'm going to go back to the corner.
Right.
You know, I'm going to go back.
Right.
And I thought that was so sad, because his thought process was that I'm not able to do.
Right.
I can't get anything. And I said to him, I said, well, what do you want to, is there anything that you want to be, anything you want to pursue? He said, I'll never be it. I'll never get there.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was a sad place
Yes.
for a person to be.
Yes.
And so I think that what needs to happen in this community, in this Miami community, this Liberty City, this community, we need to really associate ourselves with highly motivated people, highly motivated programs, anything that will get you to that mental level of high motivation. We need to have it, and we need to saturate the community with it.
Yes, and what's happening is that people can't get enough of what they don't want. They don't want to be on that street corner, but yet they can't get enough of it because that's where their friends are. That's where things are happening. That's where they see things. But, you know, there's options, and that's what they need to see, the options. Maybe, you know, looking at somebody like Martin Luther King, what did he accomplish? Read his history. You know, read about Barack Obama, the President of the United States. Read about Denzel Washington. Read about anyone that has faced obstacles and overcame them.
And that's why it's so important for you to always be focused, be aware of what's going on,
Yes.
and embrace everything, every challenge that comes to you. Embrace it, and know that you can always get past that.
Yes.
And get even better at whatever it is that you're doing.
Yes, that's a great point. And, one of the things I was thinking about for that young man that you were saying that, so I'm going back to the corner, and that's where his friends are. That's where everything lies for him. But that young man has to think, put yourself in a box and sit in a box with your legs crossed, and then step out of the box. And once you step out of that box, you're thinking outside the box.
Yes.
And when you get outside the box, you're going to have critics, because people are going to be critical of you. The people in the neighborhood and the corner is going to say, "Where'd you go? You went on to college. You left us."
Right.
And then when he gets into the industry and he starts doing well, people are going to ask him, "How did you do it? How did you?" And people are going to be envious. The more successful you get, the more critics you're going to have. But you got to be able to face that, and that's good.
And
if
you
you're
have to
living,
be able to get outside the box.
That's right. If you're living, you're going to be criticized,
Right.
and that's okay.
Right. And it's okay. It's okay to be different.
That's right. It's okay to be different, and it's okay to fail.
Yes.
We all say, we hear, we have this one commercial in our mind, and it's a great commercial. It says, failure is not an option. That's wonderful as a mindset to keep you motivated. However, what I tell people is that failure is an option, and it's an option that we could learn from. One of my colleagues at Duke University, Sid Simpkin, had a bunch of students in the classroom, and he would tell them, you can never be a great leader because you haven't failed. If you fail, you learn from your mistakes, and then you have an opportunity to be a great leader. And then the dialogue in the classroom started changing from what did I succeed at to what did I fail at. Hey, I failed when I didn't pass the biology class,
Right.
and I failed that quantitative.
And embrace the
And they
failure.
started talking about failure and embracing it.
Embrace it.
And-
And take a look at it.
That's
And
right.
whenever something doesn't work for me, I look at it, I step back, and I say, okay, what is it that I did or didn't do
Right.
that caused it not to work?
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
were there external forces?
Right.
Should I have gone left but went right?
That's
and
right.
I'm one of those people who will, mentally dissect every situation. If it didn't work in my favor, if it didn't go the way I think it should have gone, then I'm going to break it down. I'm going to figure it out, and then I'm going to come back.
That's right.
And, the comeback.
Yes.
That's what's really important. I mean, yeah, we failed. Yeah, it was terrible. Oh my God, I don't know how. But your comeback,
That's
it's your
right.
get up. It's the get up that's truly important, because
Yes.
you have to mentally be motivated to come back from that situation and
right.
succeed.
That's right. So you learn from your failure. You learn. And what happens, let's say, for instance, and this happens to a lot of people, you run a red light. God forbid, thank God you didn't get into an accident. But you ran a red light. You weren't paying attention. You say, oh my God, I just ran a red light. And then you have to realize, what went wrong? Self-talk. That's not like me. I don't run red lights. Or you don't want to say, that's like me. I'm stupid. I ran a red light. No, because that self-talk is going to cause you to stay on that path of thinking not so highly about yourself. You want to say, something else went wrong, and then go over it. Like you said, perhaps I didn't sleep last night. Perhaps I got an exam and I didn't do as well, and it messed up my sleep. Maybe I had a little coffee in the middle of the day, or Coca-Cola, and it impacted my sleep, and therefore I was tired. So, and then you say, cut out the caffeine. Focus when I'm going through red lights. Shut off the music. Don't text and drive. When most of the people, when I want to go and they're not moving, I notice they're on the phone, or sometimes I see people behind me texting, looking up once in a while. These are not good things to do. So you have to, change. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to shut off my phone. I'm going to focus on driving right now. And, a lot of things come to people when they're on the highway.
But you know what else? This is something else. You cannot listen to what other people are saying.
That's right.
Oh, that is probably one of the biggest downfalls of many.
That's right.
Because, unfortunately, you have people that are in your life or around you that will say things not so great about you,
Right.
or about what you're doing,